She was the most desired woman in the ancient world, and she spent a night trying to seduce a man who did not want her. Not because he found her repulsive, not because he lacked the capacity, but because he had decided, with the full force of a philosopher's will, that desire itself was the enemy, that the body was a distraction from the only thing worth pursuing, truth. Her name was Phryne. His was Xenocrates. And what happened between them in a single night in 4th century Athens became one of the strangest stories the ancient world ever recorded. Athens in the 4th century BCE was a city that worshipped two things above all others: beauty and reason. It had built temples to both. It had produced men who argued that reason was the highest form of human existence, and women whose beauty was so extraordinary it was treated as a kind of divine proof. Phryne was both in a way no one had anticipated. She was a hetaira, a courtesan of the educated class, a woman who moved through the highest circles of Athenian society, not as a wife or a slave, but as an independent figure of remarkable intelligence and power. She had sat for the sculptor Praxiteles, who used her face and body as the model for his Aphrodite of Knidos, so lifelike that men reportedly wept before it. Xenocrates was something else entirely. He had studied under Plato and spent decades teaching that the soul's highest purpose was the mastery of appetite. Not the suppression of pleasure through gritting one's teeth, but the genuine philosophical transcendence of it. He was, by all accounts, a man of extraordinary self-discipline, so much so that his students considered it almost inhuman. Someone at some point decided to test it. The wager, as the ancient sources frame it, was simple. Phryne would spend the night with Xenocrates, not by force, not by trickery. She would use every tool available to her: her beauty, her intelligence, her presence, the full weight of what she was. And she would see whether the philosopher's discipline was real or merely performed for his students. It is worth pausing here to understand what this meant. Phryne was not simply a beautiful woman. She was the woman whose beauty had been ruled in a court of law to be evidence of divine favor. She had been tried for impiety, a charge that carried the death penalty, and her defender, the orator Hyperiades, had reportedly pulled her robe from her shoulders before the jury. The sight of her, the ancient sources say, was enough. The jury acquitted her on the spot, not because the argument was sound, because they could not bring themselves to destroy something that looked like that. This was the woman who walked into Xenocrates' house. He received her, he spoke with her, he did not turn her away. The ancient accounts suggest he was courteous, even warm. He simply did not respond to her the way every other man she had ever encountered had responded. She tried everything she knew. The night passed. What the ancient sources record is not a scene of cold rejection. It is something stranger and, in its way, more unsettling. Xenocrates remained entirely himself. He did not lecture her, he did not moralize, he did not treat her as a temptation to be resisted. He simply was not moved. Not in the way she had come to understand men were moved. By morning, Phryne left, and what she said when she left is the reason this story survived. She did not say he was cold. She did not say he was broken. She said, and the ancient sources preserve this with a kind of quiet precision, that she had not spent the night with a man. She had spent it with a statue. It was not an insult. Or not only an insult, it was an observation. She had encountered something she did not have a category for. A human being who had so thoroughly inhabited his own philosophy that the usual mechanisms, the ones that worked on kings, on generals, on juries, had simply found no purchase. Xenocrates, for his part, is said to have offered her payment in the morning, the gesture of a host. She refused it. She said she had not earned it. The story passed into the ancient record as a kind of proof, though proof of what depended entirely on who was telling it. For the philosophers, it was evidence that Xenocrates had achieved something real. that the discipline he taught was not performance, that a man could, in fact, become what he claimed to be. For others, it was something more ambiguous. Phryne had encountered the one thing her beauty could not reach, and she had named it, with characteristic precision, for what it was. Not virtue, not coldness, a statue. Praxiteles had used her face to make a goddess. Xenocrates had sat across from her and remained entirely a philosopher. Which of them, in the end, had the harder task? If this is the kind of story you want more of, stay with this channel. There are others like it, waiting.